This guy did not stir up hate. He was not a racist. He was not a bigot. He was one of the most kind, compassionate persons you will ever meet. It's not very familiar to us as Americans for someone to get martyred for their faith. When significant things happen in culture, I think we should take time and talk about it. And, it's kind of like in our modern society, we just like to move on really fast, right? Like it's, what do they call it? They call it the news cycle, right? Like something big happens, and then, that lasts about 24 hours, and then we moved on to something else, right? And so, this Wednesday, Charlie Kirk was assassinated as he was on campus in Utah. And if you don't know who Charlie Kirk was, he was a man of God who just got martyred for his Christian faith. Charlie is known nationwide for his political involvement, but the way he was involved in politics was he took the truth of his faith and he went to college campuses and he started this organization called Turning Point when he was like 16, 17, 18 years old, and he then was assassinated, horrible act of violence, senseless violence, but he was killed because he stood for the truth of Jesus Christ. Now, he invited everyone in culture, and especially young people, to get involved in the process because that's the way we express our faith in this democratic republic is we vote and we express our ideas. And he stood for the freedom of speech, which is our freedom as U.S. citizens to speak our mind and to share ideas, and especially for Christians to share our faith with those in our culture around us. And he would go to, no matter what you've heard, depending on what news outlet you listen to, this guy did not stir up hate. He was not a racist. He was not a bigot. He was one of the most kind, compassionate persons you will ever meet. And when he confronted people and they confronted him, I listened to him for hours on end. This guy did not pick fights with people. He shared truth, and they had, sometimes robust debate, which should be okay, right? But he never condemned another person for having a different view. He just shared his view with passion and with truth. And every time he went to a campus or he did an event, he would always start with Jesus and end with Jesus. That was his reputation. So he wasn't there to give some kind of political speech. He only tried to speak truth. He spoke about stuff like abortion, like killing babies in the womb is called murder. He spoke about things like transgenderism. God made two genders and there's no other. And he spoke about it scientifically and biblically. He spoke about any topic anybody wanted to talk to him about. And he was a man who was worthy of the attention that he received. And he did not want to do anything but share the gospel and spread the truth of Jesus Christ. And I just have to tell you personally, I haven't been affected emotionally like that since my own family member passed away in 2020. I cried and I sobbed and I could not control myself. I had to go away by myself and I just cried. I could not stop crying because somehow deep inside of me, I knew the depth and the gravity of what just happened. And honestly, I couldn't quit thinking about his wife and children. He has a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. His wife is in her 20s, I think. He was 31. I think she's younger than him. I'm not crying anymore, unless it happens to me in a minute. But it deeply affected me because it's not very familiar to us as Americans for someone to get martyred for their faith. It's like Julie talked about this. We're so used to this freedom we have, yet we've been lulled into a sense of security because we've not stood up for truth and stood against the violence of this culture.